Have you ever seen the cutest little jar of Nutella? If that doesn't get subscribers, I don't know what does or what will, but pretty darn good. You know, it's not good the way that Roma played yesterday because they got constant assaults from Napoli. And I was wondering if there was ever going to be a chance Dovbik does get one, but it's really, I mean, yes, he should have converted, or you could say, I wish he had converted, but the chances are a striker needs 5, 6 chances sometimes in a match, half chances, at least 3 good ones for you to say, oh, he should have scored. But Napoli played strong. I don't think they had too many great goal scoring opportunities. There was one play from Politano where he cut in from his right to left, as he always does, same play over and over again, and he shot it over the crossbar. But other than that, the goal is great. I thought Di Lorenzo did really well out on the right. Angelino and Pisilli get a little bit confused of who to cover. He puts that across the face of goal for Lukaku. Yes, that Lukaku then scores it, and it's a pretty decent movement by them. But I want to bring us to one stat here. This is not a good start. This is the worst start for Roma in, I think, the first 13 matches, rounds since 1977-78 season. That's 46 years ago. In that season, they ended up finishing 10th. This is also the closest that the team has been to relegation in the last 20 years. We got to go all the way back to 2004-05. That was chaos. Cassano was on the move. We don't know who we was going to get. Prandelli came in. We thought maybe Cassano would have been exchanged for Micoli. Then there was the idea that maybe even Gilardino would come over and you'd have a trident of Cassano, Gilardino, and Totti, which would have been amazing. Doesn't work out due to the untimely passing of his wife. Voller steps in, Sella, Del Neri, and Conti, ultimately with the team finishing in 8th. There you've got Gigi Del Neri, and it's it kind of like makes me feel good in a nostalgic way because I just remember, being 14 years old at the time and 15 and how crazy things were. And I'm like, why is it so chaotic? And then little did I know, oh, your life is just going to be like that. That's just like as a Roma fan. So get used to it, buddy. Let's take a look at the stats. The stats in the starting lineup from yesterday. So let's check this one out. Meret starts in goal for Napoli from right to left. Di Lorenzo, Ramani, Buongiorno, Oliveira. In midfield, Anguissa, Lobotka, McTominay, who's been great since coming over from United. And up front, Politano, Lukaku, and Kvarat. And Kvarat did really good. I want to see him at Barcelona. I think he's such a superb player. But coming in for Roma, we didn't know what we were going to expect. Was it going to be a 3-man back line? Was it going to be 4? And as time went on, practice kept going. It did seem like it was going to be a 4. And this is how it lined up on paper. Although I would say it was definitely more of a varied front 3 with El Shaarawy and Pisilli, depending on who wanted to get more forward at the time, playing off one another. Selic on the right, Svilar in net, Mancini and Dica as the Copia at center back with Angelino out on the left. El Shaarawy then on the right with Kone, Cristante, and Pellegrini in the middle with Pisilli on paper out left, but really played a bit more inverted with Dovbik ahead of them. For Pellegrini, before we go even further, we're talking 0 goals, 2 assists in his last year. It's just an absolutely staggering statistic that I have here. So in 15 of his last matches, 11 as a starter, he has 0 goals and 2 assists, and his last goal came May 12th. Let me repeat that. 11 starts, 0 goals, and 2 assists. That's not good for an attacking midfielder. In fact, that's putrid. It's terrible. And it leaves this question that was posed in our group chat. And who suggested this? Vincenzo says, who should be the captain? Mike said El Shaarawy. And Vincenzo said the obvious choice is Mancini. Sorry to blow up your spot, Vincenzo, but also thinks that Paredes should be out there. And we'll get back to that fact. It does make you kind of think twice, though. In my head, I was thinking maybe Svilar as the keeper, just a point of reference for right now. Indica's been great, but not a captain. Mancini, yes, he's the vice captain. That's hard. That's tough for me to really say. I think Dybala has been the captain without the armband for the past 2 years, but who knows what's going on with him? Who knows what January is going to entail, and the summer for that fact. There are a certain number of things, though, that we should go through. Who should be starters? In and out. Kone is confirmed. To me, Pesili should be confirmed. I think Lefebvre needs to be in there. But Baldanzi is my number one guy after Kone, who is an undisputed starter. And maybe, of course, Dovbyk. But those guys need to be the core. Angelino, younger. He's not 20 years old. He's a little bit older than that in his middle of his career. But these guys are a young core which needs to stick together now and play and keep playing. And if that means Cristante and Pellegrini need to be benched and Pellegrini needs to lose the armband or be sold in January, it is all for the good of Rome. That's it. And as the captain, the player themselves, they know that too. If you become a hindrance, you're not starting quality just because what was, well, Ranieri's going to have to make some tough choices soon. And if not, Roma's just going to keep losing. Roma's going to keep struggling. And I don't think that's fair. Let's look at the statistics for this match. Let me scroll up a little bit. Sorry. I am getting worked up because it's frustrating because now we're in December, basically. And you know what? The next game is Tottenham. And then it's Atalanta. And Tottenham just beat Manchester City by 4 goals. And you know Atalanta is going to be a high-powered team. It's going to be ridiculous. So let's take a look. 14 shots versus 6. Roma did limit them to 2 shots on target and 1 for Roma. Possession heavily within Napoli's favor, 64%. Passes, they've almost doubled Roma's. Accuracy way higher, even though it was so many more passes. Fouls are just about even. 3 yellow cards for Roma. No red cards. Actually, somewhat of a gentlemanly match. We look at the leaderboards. Napoli first. Atalanta 1 point behind them with Inter, Fiorentina, and Lazio, all 1 point off of first place Napoli. Juventus not too far behind either, really. But the front 6 has completely ran away with the league. Milan 19. We got to go all the way down to 12th place where we find Roma in 13th, which is just 4 points more than relegation placed Lecce. It's dangerous. Look at these teams that are around Roma. It's so sad. I just feel heartbroken. Wish there was something I could do, but ultimately, we're just fans. I was reading something just about fans too, in a little bit of a different type of conversation, how they're dropping influencers and going with like brand members. I was like, that's a great idea, Roma. If you want a brand guy, I think I can be that person. Let's start to show off the merch because some of that stuff's been really good. It's as good as the merch has been, is how bad as the first team has been. A couple quotes from Ranieri after this match. He said, "We have to help Pellegrini recover. He's going through a difficult moment. It's complicated, and he's got great qualities." That's not really telling too much. Sule, he says, "I needed to open up the match as opposed to the opposing defense and not close it down." So what he's saying is Sule would peg the wingbacks further down. He's saying, I needed to open up the match. So we'll see what happens between him and Ranieri, the Argentinian, because now we also have this issue of how much money has been spent and how much of it is riding on the bench. And we have serious long-term problems with that. Ranieri also says, "I worked all week to try and open up Napoli and put the balls into space. The goal opportunity came from this, that Angelino free kick, which Dovbyk hits the crossbar." He says, "By putting the team back into a 4-4-2, I wanted to put them wide and make good crosses for Dovbyk. We were crushing each other, but if you look at how many saves my goalkeeper made, we couldn't score. It'll be for the next one." And how did Napoli do last year? He mentions, like, kind of saying, look how bad they were, as good as we can become. He says, unfortunately, it's a team sport. And when the players get depressed, the problems get worse. We're on the right path. We have to insist on this line. He says, the goal that we conceded came due to our lack of concentration. We've got to improve our concentration. We must work and improve, but we must not give up. So if anybody can get them on the right track, we know who it is. We know it's our boy Ranieri. But there's some questions about that starting lineup. As I mentioned, it's got to be Baldanzi. I do love Angelino at left back. Going into the Mercato, let me know what you think. The 2 positions that I would identify, a left wing and a right back. I think if you can get those 2 players and get explosive ones, it's not going to be easy. Look, Bellanova's gone. He's at Atalanta. He's a player who should have been purchased over other expensive players who barely get time. But that's revisionist history. We can't go back and say, Gasolfi, why did you do this? And why did you do that? There is a plan. They'll lower the age. They'll keep getting quality, hopefully promising players. We'll take it from there. That's the only silver lining is it's just going to take hard work. Is that a silver lining? I don't know, but that's the only practical way forward. We'll talk soon, guys. Ciao.